Now, Scotch whisky is one of our biggest exports and an industry with a heritage that draws visitors from around the world. But just where and when did it all start? Well, a new archaeological dig at one of the country's first legal distilleries is underway at the Cabrach in Moray, shedding new light on the origins of Scotland's national drink. Laura Alderman is there for us now. Laura, it's an area steeped in whisky tradition. How significant is this discovery?
Well, Norman, fairly significant. The Cabrach Trust, who are excavating this site, well, they already knew that there was a whisky distillery underneath the surface. And that's because this area is a hotbed, it used to be a hotbed, of illegal whisky smuggling back in the early 1800s. Now, the one that's being excavated, Black Middens, that was relatively small scale, and they used to churn out 20,000 litres of whisky a year. It sounds like a lot, but by today's standards, Glenfiddich Distillery, which isn't far from here, well, they produce 13 million litres of whisky a year. Indeed, the rich history of the Cabrach was a local secret until now. Digging in the midday sun is thirsty work for these archaeologists. But thirst was exactly what made this area notorious in the early 19th century. Beneath the surface lies the remains of what was one of the first legal whisky distilleries in Scotland. Before that, bootleg home brew and dodging the authorities was commonplace in the Cabrach.
Because of a change in the taxation in 1823, they tried to extinguish all the illicit distilling that was going on here on an industrial level. In the burn just behind us as well, I found 2 illicit whisky bothies. So there's no doubt that the people living on this farm would probably have a good knowledge already of how to make whisky.
And this here would have been the centre point of the distillation process, where copper stills were fired up with peat from the landscape around us. And although we can't taste that whisky today, this dig is shedding light on the rich history of the Cabrach. And keeping that history alive is key for residents here today. At the height of legal distilling, Joan Harvey's great-great-uncle was whisky smuggling royalty.
Oh, it would have been a Wild West affair. A Wild West, wild. Quite the thing to do, because they made money. And they sold it in Aberdeen and at other shops. And the glasses, they served it in the pubs, you know, in Aberdeen, and they were all coloured. They were either green or blue, because that's what the old-fashioned glass used to turn out like. And then they didn't know what they were drinking. It was very suspicious.
Thankfully now we know what's in our favourite dram. But digging up distilleries like this enables us to trace the global success of our national tipple.
And Laura, how much longer is the dig going on for?
Well, much like the whisky that's made here, the archaeologists aren't in any rush, but they are eager. When I was chatting to them earlier today, they just kept saying, can we go back to work now? Can we go back to work now? They just want to unearth as many treasures as possible. The dig started on Monday and it's going to go until tomorrow afternoon. But I should point out that this area isn't yet open to the public. The Cabrach Trust want to do that later on as part of a larger heritage project. But for now, it certainly is an area steeped in whisky history. Norman.
Laura Slancheva, thank you.